Cu Chulainn, the legendary Irish hero from Celtic mythology. Has it ever happened to you that you find yourself under the comfort of the night sky, gazing at the imperishable stars while thinking to yourself, oh, if only I knew exactly how hard mythological Cu Chulainn could punch, for only then would the hole in my immortal soul be filled. If that's you, well, honestly, I suggest you get a hobby or something. Stop thinking about power levels so much. But in the meantime, good news! I made this video just to answer that question. However, before we get to the Unga Bunga, we should cover the story of Cu Chulainn first. But don't worry, don't fall asleep, I'm not going to cover the entire story of the character. Alright, now let's do this. Our story begins, so I have decided, with the people of Ireland. The people are worried about their greatest champion, Cu Chulainn. The concern of the people is twofold. Reason number one, Cu Chulainn is too handsome. Yeah, I know. The men of Ireland, you see, are worried that one day Cu Chulainn might steal their wives. And reason number two, Cu Chulainn is strong, but he does not have a child. If Cu Chulainn were to die, Ireland would lose their most valuable asset. It is on the best interest of the people of Ireland that Cu Chulainn has an heir. And so began the search for the future wife of Cu Chulainn. However, Cu Chulainn rejected all of them. As the son of the god Lug, and therefore a demigod, Cu Chulainn had been exceptional and special his entire life. He would not accept a woman as his wife unless that woman was also exceptional and special, just like him. And turns out such a woman did exist. Her name was Emer, and she was the daughter of a king called Forgal. Now, Cu Chulainn knew where Emer lived, and since the idea of getting married now was in his mind, Cu Chulainn personally went to the home of Emer to propose to her. However, Emer tells Cu Chulainn that if he wants to marry her, he has to complete a bunch of side quests first. Cu Chulainn accepts the challenge and leaves, for now. Then, a couple of days later, Forgal goes to visit the city of the king where Cu Chulainn lives. And then Forgal tells this king, I saw Cu Chulainn with my own eyes, and I was blown away by how amazing he is. But personally, I think Cu Chulainn would be even more amazing if he went to train with this woman called Scahach. Now, this was all part of Forgal's master plan, because to reach Scahach, Cu Chulainn would have to go through a journey that was full of dangers. And also, Scahach herself, while strong and talented, she was also very wild. Or at least, that's what Forgal believed. Forgal was hoping that either Cu Chulainn would die on his way to Scahach, or Scahach herself would kill him. Now, Cu Chulainn had heard of Scahach before, and so, eager to test his abilities against her, Cu Chulainn is on board with the idea and sails to meet Scahach. Eventually, he reaches her and she trains him. Once Cu Chulainn's training is concluded, some other stuff happens and Cu Chulainn ends up fighting a woman called Aífe. Now, Aífe is very strong, and after Cu Chulainn beats her, he wants to have a child with her, presumably because she's really strong. So, they sleep together, Aífe gets pregnant, gives birth to a boy, and Cu Chulainn names him Conla. Aífe is also the one who gives Cu Chulainn his famous weapon, the Gai Bolg. After that, Cu Chulainn leaves and goes back to Ireland to marry the woman that he actually cares about. Then Cu Chulainn completes all the side quests and now he can marry Emer. Unfortunately, Cu Chulainn is informed that it is a rule in the kingdom he lives that if a man wants to get married, the man's soon-to-be wife has to sleep with the king first. Cu Chulainn is having none of that, but to avoid any fighting, the king tells Cu Chulainn to go get him some cows instead and everything will be good. So Cu Chulainn goes to do this side quest and he sees a woman going her own way with a cow. So Cu Chulainn stops her to ask her questions. They have a little back and forth, and Cu Chulainn quickly gets irritated by the woman, so he attacks her. But the woman dodges the attack by transforming into a black bird, and that's when Cu Chulainn realized that this woman was none other than the goddess Morrigan. And now, for daring to raise his hand against her, Morrigan will make sure that the life of Cu Chulainn is utterly miserable. But hey, at least he gets to finally marry Emer. Small victories, you know? Now, sometime later in Cu Chulainn's life, Morrigan tries to give Cu Chulainn a second chance. All Cu Chulainn has to do is sleep with her, but Cu Chulainn tells her no, so Morrigan doubles down her efforts, and that's why bad things happen to Cu Chulainn. Like, for example, the time he accidentally killed his own son. Cu Chulainn did this for reasons I'm not going to bother explaining because I want to get to the power levels. But after Cu Chulainn discovers what he has done, Cu Chulainn is flooded by a tidal wave of regret, and he decides to drown himself. A god called Bricriu then saves Cu Chulainn, then a bunch more stuff happens and Cu Chulainn finally dies. And once Cu Chulainn is dead, Morrigan descends from the fairy mound in the shape of a crow and lands on the shoulder of Cu Chulainn. This was basically Morrigan's way of telling Cu Chulainn, I won. The end. Anyway, let's talk about power levels now. So, Cu Chulainn is given top dog status. No one is stronger than him. In Celtic mythology, other warriors are already stronger than normal people, and Cu Chulainn, being the strongest period, should scale above those warriors. Cu Chulainn should also scale above Partholún, a guy who supposedly was a master of every form of combat. When Cu Chulainn was a child, he dodged 150 objects thrown at him at the same time, and he also killed a really strong dog. As an adult, Cu Chulainn by himself can kill hundreds and even thousands of people. He has also left a rock so heavy no human could lift it, and he has left a part of a castle. Furthermore, Cu Chulainn defeated both Forgal and his champions. The champions of Forgal were all said to be 100 times stronger than a person, and Forgal was stronger than his champions. But Cu Chulainn's most impressive feat is defeating Gruaidh. This was a giant who supposedly was stronger than all men on Earth combined. And in addition to all of this, Cu Chulainn can go Super Saiyan and become even stronger. You see, Cu Chulainn used to suffer from an affliction known as Riastrad. Basically, Cu Chulainn had anger issues. He used to get so mad that he physically transformed into a hideous monster. Make no mistake, however, Cu Chulainn is not completely mindless in this state. He still can talk, he's just really angry. In his Riastrad form, Cu Chulainn should be at least 5 times more powerful than in his base form. His wife Emer believed that when Cu Chulainn transformed, he could destroy all of Ireland. And once, after Cu Chulainn transforms, he kills so many people that it is supposedly impossible to know how many he killed. Also, he wasn't harmed when he did this. Now, while his Riastrad form is very strong, it has 3 weaknesses. 1. If Cu Chulainn stays in his Riastrad form for too long, he will die. 2. If Cu Chulainn stays in the water for too long, he will lose his anger and thereby his transformation because the water cools him down. And 3. In his Riastrad form, Cu Chulainn finds naked women gross, so he has to cover his eyes. Alright, that's all I have regarding Cu Chulainn's strength, but Cu Chulainn offers a bit more than just punching really hard. For example, Cu Chulainn knows some magic. One of the spells he knows allows him to see the future. Cu Chulainn is also a fighting genius. He can copy your moves after seeing them once. He has enhanced vision, has an increased resistance to things that make you fall asleep, and even in his base form, he has superhuman speed. In addition to all of this, Cu Chulainn owns a couple of supernatural things. The 2 most important things in his arsenal are his shield, which is so sharp it can cut swords like if they were butter, and his legendary spear, the Gai Bolg. So, what is this thing? Well, the Gai Bolg is a special spear that, for some reason, and it is not explained why, you had to throw it with your feet. And in some sources, you had to be standing in the water first before you threw it. Weird prerequisites, yes, but the Gai Bolg is absolutely worth the hassle. When the Gai Bolg entered the body of the target, the blade of the spear would divide into 30 separate spikes. These needles would then attach to the inside of the body in such a way that it was supposedly impossible for someone to remove the Gai Bolg by force. The only way to pull out the spear was by cutting the meat around the blades. However, Cu Chulainn does not seem to have this problem. He can pull out the spear out of a body just fine. Now, the wounds caused by the Gai Bolg produce unspeakable pain, and these wounds would not heal unless Cu Chulainn first wanted the wounds to heal. But the most special thing about the Gai Bolg is that it cannot miss, and also it cannot be blocked. Once it's thrown, the Gai Bolg will hit the target. And that's it, that's all the scaling I have for Cu Chulainn. We could end the video here, but I want to say something about his appearance. While Cu Chulainn is constantly said to be super handsome, we are given descriptions of what he looks like, and rather than handsome, the word I would use to describe him is interesting. And that's it. That does it for Cu Chulainn. And that does it for Celtic mythology in general. There is one more video about Celtic mythology that I would like to make. That video does not have to do with power scaling, and I'm still debating on whether I will make that video or not, so I don't really know what's next for my channel. But whatever it is that I make next, I can only hope you will grant me the privilege of borrowing some of your time once more. Until then, thank you so much for watching, take care, I love you, and have a wonderful day. Bye!